Oh, God. All right, guys, a unique comparison today. We got a 2017 Porsche 911 991.2 Turbo S against a 2017 Acura NSX NC1 owned by Fenton from the Zygreen channel. Now, this may seem like a strange comparison, but hear me out. Both are powered by twin-turbo, 6-cylinder engines. Both are all-wheel drive, and both are making, at least rated, close to 600 horsepower. The NSX had an MSRP a bit under $200,000. Market value today for a 2017 or 2018 model year is about $110,000 to $140,000, whereas the Turbo S, as spec'd here, was over $200K. Market value today is $150,000 to $180,000. Now keep in mind, with the 2017-2018 model year, you get a bit of a discount on the NC1. If you go 2019 to 2021 model year, you're paying $10,000 to $15,000 more, which does bring the overall value a little bit closer. Now, the NC1 is powered by a 3.5-liter V6 that's twin-turbocharged, making 500 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque with a 7,500 RPM redline. But it also has 3 electric motors. So there's one direct drive motor between the engine and the transmission for torque fill, and you have 2 twin motor units independently driving each of the front wheels. Those are powered by a 1.3 kilowatt-hour battery, and that gives you a total output of 573 horsepower, 476 pound-feet of torque, made it to a 9-speed DCT. We have drive-by-wire, as do all modern cars, but also brake-by-wire, which is more notable, electric power steering, and you have this very unique chassis. It's a multi-material space frame chassis made of aluminum, steel, and carbon fiber. Even still, it's no lightweight. The curb weight is just under 3,900 pounds. We have Gen 3 magnetorheological dampers with double wishbone front and multi-link rear suspension, Brembo carbon ceramic brakes with 6-piston front and 4-piston rear, and both cars today are totally stock. And you gotta admit, the NC1 NSX also is a proper supercar. You have these flying buttresses, which are super cool, that mid-engine rear-wheel drive proportions. It has a road presence that the Turbo S, it just looks like another 911 to those who aren't in the know. But getting into the interior, I feel like this era of Acura interiors isn't, let's just say it hasn't aged quite as gracefully as Porsche. You have these center controls, which are very reminiscent of a Selle Italia SMP saddle for those who are cyclists. Seats are quite comfortable, decently low, although I wish I could actually height adjust these a little bit lower. Very small infotainment, but I love that the dash actually gives you both a digital screen, but also some physical elements with that ring around. Now, in terms of drive modes, we have Sport, Sport Plus, and Track. I'm gonna hold to the right for Track. The issue is that you cannot independently adjust each of the settings. So when you go to Sport Plus and Track, you have firmer suspension. And if you want the dampers to be softer, then unfortunately, everything else is going to change with it. Oh! It always surprises me how quick these things are. They are very much slept on. Man, these things are absolute rockets. You know, when you start pushing the car harder, the brake pedal actually feels really good, even though it's brake-by-wire. The calibration is actually quite great. Now, obviously, you're not going to have the ABS feedback, but on straight, we're not pushing it to ABS anyways. When I was driving it slower, I felt like it was a little bit too touchy. But when you start getting on it, it's actually really well calibrated. Handling its 3,900 pounds incredibly well. You can feel that this car has a lower center of gravity. Although I will say in track mode for this bumpy canyon road, it is slightly over damped. Let's actually dial things back. We'll go back into Sport to get the dampers in a softer setting. Yeah, now I can actually feel that it's a little bit under-damped, getting a bit more excess motion. Wish you could fine-tune it a bit better. Let's give you guys a pull. You got these nice quick shifts from the 9-speed DCT. It's not quite PDK quick, but because you have that electric motor to help with torque fill, very smooth shifts, decently quick on both upshifts and downshifts. And I gotta say, the actuation of these paddles is actually quite good. They feel very modern and crisp. Steering here, we have a very sharp front end, but I wish that it was talking to me more. Really surprisingly sharp for what the car is, but it just doesn't tell you much of what's actually happening in the front axle. Oh, you can feel the rear end wanting to give you just a hint of that rotation. These cars are so slept on. They're not the most connected, not the most communicative, but they are quite special, quite unique, not very common at all, and I don't think that's because they're not great cars. Sure, it's a bit heavy, but it handles its weight quite well. Think of it as the poor man's 918 Ferrari, LaFerrari, McLaren P1, right? This is at the beginning of when manufacturers were using hybrid technology for performance and not just for fuel efficiency. And Honda actually did a pretty great implementation. It very much feels to me like if the Nissan GTR was a mid-engine supercar, this is what you would get. You have similar notes, similar ingredients, and the beautiful thing is after bombing the canyons, you dial it back, quiet mode, and it's comfortable, it's quiet. Just like the Porsche, it's one of those everyday supercars where you can enjoy it day to day in regular life and also enjoy it when you're bombing the canyons. Let's give you one more pull. Also love the sound the engine makes when you get to Sport Plus or track mode. Pretty good for a twin turbo. Man, plenty of performance. You do not need more power than that. Now let's see how it compares to the 991.2 Turbo S. Now that we've experienced the Japanese recipe, let's see how they do it in Stuttgart. This Turbo S is powered by a twin turbocharged flat six. It's a 3.8 liter, making 580 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque, mated to a 7-speed PDK, and this is also, of course, all-wheel drive. It's rated at 0 to 60 in 2.7 to 2.9 seconds with a 205 mile-an-hour top speed. These things are no slouch. The Turbo S does come standard with PCCBs, that's the carbon brakes, PASM for the adaptive dampers, Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control or PDCC, Active Aero, Adaptive Sports Seats Plus, Bose surround sound, and rear wheel steering. This is weighing in a bit lighter than the NSX, 3,550 pounds, and we have strut front multi-link rear suspension. Now in terms of appearance, road presence, the Turbo S looks like just another 911 to those who aren't in the know. It's very subtle, very understated, whereas the NSX, it looks like a proper mid-engine supercar. You got the engine in the middle, you can see it through the glass, flying buttresses, and those who are not in the know, they're gonna think, wow, this is something clearly special. Which is a pro or a con depending on how much you like attention. But getting into the interior, again, same exact model year, 2017. The Turbo S interior, I think, is a few notches above that in the NSX. First of all, with the 991.2 versus the 991.1, you actually get the cutouts in the steering wheel, which make it look so much better, modernizes the whole steering wheel, smaller airbag as well. And for those who watched my 991.1 Turbo S review, you'll notice that not only is the steering wheel much more modern here, but also the gear shift. So in the .1, you would actually push this forward to upshift and back to downshift, which is the wrong direction. And here, they got it fixed. push forward to downshift, and pull back to upshift. It does look like a 911 interior, but to match the price point, they've of course given you this full leather treatment. You got some carbon fiber, and the build quality, solidity, all the touch points are excellent in Porsche fashion. We've got nose lift as well, which is definitely useful in your everyday supercar. And we're gonna push this into individual mode, which is essentially Sport Plus, but without the active aero front and rear, because we don't quite have the road clearance on a bumpy road like this. Man, this car is also no slouch. Now, unlike the NSX, you don't have the electric motors to give you that immediacy as soon as you get on the throttle. But once these turbos get spooled up, Porsche tends to underrate their cars, and this thing is an absolute rocket. Good Lord. I like that the throttle tuning as well is a bit more natural. In the NSX, it changes by your drive modes, and when you get to Sport Plus and Track, you can't quite get the first 5 to 10% smoothly. It tends to be a little bit too binary there. Whereas Porsche, they always just get their inputs immaculate. Steering here is actually slightly less sharp than the NSX, but it overall is still a better steering experience because you have some load up, you have some texture. Is it a GT3? Obviously not, that's not what this car is trying to be. But it has a more natural weighting, some communication, so you know what's happening at the front end. And the ratio doesn't feel overly quick. I would say in the NSX, it doesn't feel darty, but because of the sharpness and because of the steering ratio, it's not quite as one-to-one as this Turbo S. And let's give you a pull. Oh, God. See, with the NSX, even when you're not going pedal to the floor, you have that immediacy because of those electric motors, right? So you don't have to wait for the turbos to spool. Here you do, and the lag here is actually less from what I can remember compared to the 991.1 Turbo S, but it is still there. You don't have electric motors filling in the gap, but once it gets going, my God, this thing is gonna rip your face off. I do wish that I got more auditory feedback though. The engine, it almost has this vacuum cleaner quality to it. It's so quiet. It actually sounds ever so slightly more forward than the 991.1 Turbo S, but compared to the NSX, it is just very much in the background. I like that in the NSX they have a sound tube that pipes in some engine noise. The all-wheel drive system on the 911 is also rear-wheel drive based, rear biased, but not as playful as the NSX. Not to say that the NSX is a very playful car, but you are able to get it to give you just that ever so slight hint of yaw, whereas with the Turbo S it is so planted. Transmission here is just pure perfection. This isn't even the most modern PDK, and even in 2017, just it's hard to find fault with it. These shifts are all so quick, upshifts, downshifts, super smooth. I'd say that on paper, this car is the superior option. You have more power, more performance, faster, quicker, smoother shifts, better inputs as well. Steering, brake, throttle are all mapped just beautifully. We don't have brake-by-wire here, and the pedal feel in Porsche fashion is absolutely excellent. You have to remember though, both of these cars are best enjoyed on the street. So don't think that this Turbo S is a GT3 in terms of the input quality, the feedback, the connectedness. Oh man, I love that I'm actually able to get a bit from the front end. The damping here too, it's better suited for streets, for the canyon roads, because the NSX is heavier by about 350 pounds. It tends to be either underdamped in the softer settings and then a bit overdamped. Part of that is going to be weight, right? It's harder to get as supple or as well-calibrated suspension while maintaining body control when you're doing so with a heavier vehicle. Let's give you one more pull. Man, once it picks up, it is just violent. My God. Now, when comparing these two cars, it's not quite as clear-cut as many would think. The Porsche 911 Turbo S, it does a lot of things exceptionally well, especially for an everyday supercar. The performance ceiling is even higher than in the NSX. It has better inputs. The steering, the brake, the throttle are all more natural. The brake pedal doesn't have this initial touchiness that the NSX does, and it also has a better calibrated, more natural and easy to modulate throttle. Let's get the nose lift up again. Wish the NSX had that. It does have notable turbo lag, whereas with the NSX, because of that hybrid electric motor technology, you're able to give that torque feel, have more immediacy. Overall road presence, wow factor, and the specialness, I'd actually give it to the NSX because, again, it feels like a proper supercar, whereas this is the top end of the 911 chain. But when it comes to deciding which car is actually more fun to drive, it's hard to say because they actually trade blows. I'd say that the NSX has a more forward engine note, more immediate throttle response, and that mid-engine supercar kind of vibe when you're driving it. Whereas the Turbo S has better inputs. It has more communication in the traditional sense, better suspension tuning. But man, the engine is just a little bit muted. It's a little bit hidden. It's veiled. And I wish that when you went into the more aggressive settings, like this individual mode, which is essentially Sport Plus, just without the active aero, which is how the owner has set it up, then I wish the engine could be louder. And then when you go back to normal mode, sure, make it quiet, make it comfortable because you want that everyday supercar experience. Of course, with current market value, the Turbo S is valued higher. So what you have to consider is the performance ceiling, the build quality, the tried and true name of the Porsche 911 Turbo S. Is that worth it to you? Or are you feeling more adventurous and would you go with the NSX? My friends, let me know what you would pick with a comment down below. Big shout out to the owners, Scott and Fenton, for letting me review their cars. If you want your car reviewed, visit us on JabalAndCars.com. Much love, my friends, and I'll see you all in that next one.